The housing market red hot, and it's not just sale prices that are soaring. Asking rents for houses are up nearly 13% year to date through July. This is a result of first-time buyers being priced out of the market and investors buying homes at a record pace. Now the Biden administration is looking to level the playing field with a new plan to address the housing crunch. Joining me now is Pierre Debbas, LLP managing partner. Pierre Debbas. Pierre, what do you make of this? When I hear the government's going to build housing, I just think of the Soviet Union, but...
Again, it's a great point, because we're sitting here and the biggest issue in the housing market is a huge lack of supply. Ever since the financial crisis, there's been a limited amount of supply that has entered the market, and it's really the perfect storm of having historic low interest rates, a housing, the most robust housing market ignited by the pandemic, and now we're sitting here with the government having all these proposals in terms of how to address this. And addressing it in a number of, manners that they outlined this morning really doesn't address how you're going to bring supply to the marketplace. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And I don't think that, I agree with you, when you're having to have the government start getting involved directly in development, it can open up a huge Pandora's box.
Home price growth hitting a record. The Case-Shiller National Home Price Index jumped 18.6% in the year ending in June. What are you seeing out there? I watch just apartments, which are egregiously expensive here in New York City. Like, you can't find a decent apartment under $2 million, and I'm not joking. And they're just flying off the store shelves, figuratively speaking. Pierre, what are you seeing?
Our market in New York City, ironically enough, a year ago we were talking about an exodus of people from New York City, and New York City being dead. And here we are 12 months later. This is the most active and the largest sense of urgency I've seen in the New York City residential market in 16 and a half years of practicing law in New York City. And it's kind of counterintuitive because you're having a housing market that's at historic levels, which largely was ignited again by people leaving densely populated areas. Yet we're talking about New York City, which is one of the most densely populated areas in the world, having a huge spike in demand. I think, what you're seeing, what's really causing this in the New York City market is that there has been a reduction in pricing as a result of the pandemic, not anywhere near as big of a reduction as people probably perceive. The higher end product that is being traded are the ones that are having the largest discounts. But like you said, anything under $2 million, you can't find anything. And that's because a lot of people, the exodus in Manhattan was largely overblown, blown out of proportion, I would say. And what you're seeing here is that people are seizing this as an opportunity to buy an asset in New York City at a slight discount. Also, most importantly, having faith that the city will, fully rebound, if not better.
I'm not a buyer, but I follow inventory lists of apartments for sale in my neighborhood. And in a matter of 2 weeks, the number of apartments based on my parameters went from like 30 to 5. And I assume those were sales that closed. And I actually know stories of people, a bidding war starting for rental apartments where there's a listed rent and people will come in and say, I'll pay you this if I get, if I can get the apartment right now. So I was totally wrong about how fast New York came back. It's a lot of young people. A lot of people moved from the West Coast to New York because they wanted to be part of the revival. And it's just really incredible to see. It's, bad if you're in the market for an apartment. But thank you for being here, Pierre. Please come back. We'll talk about it more next time. Pierre Debbas.